3, episode 3. And there are 3 people in the studio today. Usually it's just one-on-one, but today we have the 2 soccer captains here at Brebeuf Jesuit on the boys team. It's Jake Rosenberg and Stefan Boes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
So, I am not the most soccer inclined person out here. I know a little bit of the game. I've been trying to grow my knowledge, play some FIFA, find a team I want to support. But I did start playing soccer when I was about 4 years old, but I quit after someone kicked me in the shins and I ran off the field and I never went back. So I do want to know, when did you guys start? I know a lot of people start at a young age with soccer because it's like an easy sport to learn, not very much contact, it's pretty safe. So Jake, we'll start with you. When did you start playing soccer?
So I started playing just like mess around soccer maybe when I was 2 years old at like off the wall sports, and just then I started playing club soccer when I was 6 or 7, and that's when like my whole career of club soccer started. And I played for Hoosier FC for maybe 3 years, and then because I was just too far of a drive, my parents put me in Carmel United, which I would have stayed there. It was a great program, but then it merged with the Westfield program to make Indiana Fire, which is at Grand Park, and that's the one that I used to play for.
I think elementary school, I remember you always wore your Indy Fire like sweater jacket or something that. It was you and like Mateo Rosio and I remember you guys were talking about your travel season all the time. Did what's the difference between Carmel United and Carmel FC? I know Carmel FC is newer, and I know a lot of people who play for Carmel FC. So what's the deal about
Carmel
that?
FC is basically like the step up from like rec, basically like Carmel Dad's Club, and then Carmel United was like fully a club-based academy program until it just got merged with the Westfield Academy maybe 7 years ago. And I remember whenever first emerged there, it was everybody who was my age, who was in my grade, and there were 5 teams for that grade, and I was on the E team, which was the very last team, and Mateo Rossi was on the first team, and I still remember like looking at him. I'd be like, I'm gonna be there one day, and somehow I did. I don't know how, honestly.
And so we went to Creekside, which is a massive middle school, but they didn't have a soccer team. So, and you played travel throughout middle school, but then you went to Carmel High School your first year. We'll get back to this, but I know there are a lot of soccer players in Carmel, and all high schoolers, well, most go to Carmel High School. So what was the soccer program over there like?
Very political, to put it honestly way. It's like mostly for the girls, it's usually like that. You don't even have to be good at soccer. You just have to have an older sibling that's good. Usually the freshman and JV team, if you have an older sibling for the guys program, then you automatically make the team. But when it gets to, because a bunch of my friends are on varsity right now, when it gets there, it's the best of the best go. And supposedly this year they're called the Dream Team, but they're not doing too well this year.
So we'll come back to talking about transferring into the Brebeuf program, but let's go over to Stefan. What is your soccer background? Same things as Jake. When did you start? Travel teams, etc.
Yeah, so first off, thank you for having us on. I think podcasts are really cool. I listen to some NBA podcasts a lot, which is really cool. But yeah, I started playing soccer when I was about maybe 3 or 4 years old, and I played over at Meridian Street Methodist, which is on Meridian Street Road, around 54th Street. And that was just like a little rec league. A bunch of neighborhood kids played there, which is really fun. And I did that till about 3rd or 4th grade. And then I went to St. Richard's Middle School, and I played soccer there for the middle school, 5th to 8th grade, which is great. I played with some people that still go to Rough today, like Mateo Soria. Trying to think who else. Teddy Potts. Just those are a few St. Richard's kids that still play Brebeuf soccer. And that was a great experience. I didn't play club soccer like Jake did. I played other sports. I played basketball at St. Richard's. I did track. I was a long jumper. And yeah.
That's tough.
And so instead of playing soccer, I focused on just like kind of getting a little bit of everything. And then I finally came to Brebeuf freshman year. I played here freshman through senior now. And then last year, for my first year of club soccer, I played at Carmel FC, which Jake was a little bit disrespecting earlier.
I was disrespecting.
But that was great. I just got a little extra soccer time in, which was great. And yeah, it was fun.
I do want to talk about, you said you played basketball, and last year, intramurals, you hit that game-winning shot over, who was it, Quinn Cook?
Yeah,
I think it was. He was like the menace of Brebeuf intramurals last year. That was probably the best moment of intramurals season last year. And I'll be playing this year, which I'm super excited about. But I was in the stands for that one, and that was very impressive.
Yeah, that was really fun. Unfortunately, he got us back a little later on. He took us out of the tournament, which is pretty sad. But that was definitely a highlight of the year.
Yeah.
One of the.
What about state?
No,
we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to
Intramural
that.
was first. Intramural was
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So let's go. Jake, you were talking about playing at Carmel, and Stefan, obviously, you said you started here. So I'll start with Jake. Like, how did it feel, like immediate impact after going from Carmel to here in the soccer program specifically?
I knew probably 3 people. I knew Josh Payne because he transferred with me from Carmel, Aiden Wade because I've known him since I was young, and then somebody else just from like people telling me about them. I forget who. And I remember the first practice I got here, it was in the summer, and I knew nobody. And actually Ryan Kerstev, that first practice, I'm kind of like a talkative person on the field. So as soon as that practice was over, Ryan texted Henry Kofer, who were both our captains from last year, saying, I hate this kid. This kid is so annoying. This kid better never make the team. I'm going to bully this kid. And I thought I had to prove myself. So I tried to like do the most and do everything. And I found out at the middle of last year that every single senior and mostly everybody on the team did not like me because I thought they thought I was better than everybody else. Basically, I thought I was better than everybody else. And I didn't think I was doing that, but I guess I was.
And I know you and Stefan, you're pretty comfortable together. How long did it take for like the team atmosphere to come together at like beginning last year? We'll talk about the season. I know it didn't get started off on a great foot, but it's finishing strong. Finishing strong is the key term. But how long did it take to kind of settle in?
I feel like, I don't really know. Do you want to step in for this one? I think it didn't really take that long because we were with each other like 4 or 5 times every week, and we just kind of got to know each other. Nobody was really like super close with each other, and nobody really got along with each other perfectly. There was always arguments, and there were like some group chats made that everybody would go off on other people. So yeah, but I mean, it probably took us maybe 3 weeks to get to know everybody's like background of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it kind of started to go uphill a little bit, but also downhill, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Stefan, you started in the program, so you probably knew majority of people on the team last year. So does your perspective differ from Jake's on that situation, or is it relatively the same?
I would say it differs a little bit. One thing I would definitely say about Jake's route is that it was definitely tougher for him just to like get used to the team, because for me personally, I'd been with those same guys for like 2 years previously when he wasn't, which is always hard for like incoming transfers and stuff. But I thought Jake actually handled it really well. I thought he was like really tenacious when he first came to practice, and I loved that he like every single practice he was giving his all. You know, some guys they kind of lack off a little bit in practice, but Jake like gave his all, which is really good. But yeah, definitely starting the program, it was a bit easier. I would say my freshman year, it was probably my toughest year, just because the contrast between like the seniors and the freshmen is really big, in that like the social skills. I would say like a lot of the seniors, they help me out a lot, but it's just really hard to like communicate with them because they're so much older than us, because their conversations are so much different than just freshmen. Coming straight out of 8th grade, like the conversations are so much different.
Yeah.
But I would say like being involved in the program, I feel like it was a bit easier for me than Jake. But yeah.
Yeah. And how does it feel now that you are a senior, like looking over the freshmen, you're kind of in the role you were looking up to, you're now in. So what is it like?
Yeah, I'd say I definitely do a lot of things differently than I would have if I wouldn't have had that same experience when I was a freshman. Like, for instance, I try to be a little bit more talkative with the freshmen than I feel like some of the seniors were, and just kind of including them more and understanding like how they're feeling. Like, for instance, I remember feeling a little bit like left out sometimes because I was like getting pulled up for varsity sometimes. But I feel like for those freshmen that are getting pulled up, I try to just like get them involved more in the team and the atmosphere, and not as much as even the playing, just more like the social part of the team.
And Jake, what was it like being a freshman at Carmel but now being a senior here? I have to assume the difference is huge. One, because there's so many people in the Carmel soccer program that freshmen probably like kind of go like under the radar. But I don't know how many seniors are there either. But here it's a much smaller atmosphere and everyone knows each other. There aren't as many freshmen. There aren't as many seniors. So what is it like for you here?
So it's totally different. Whenever I was trying out for Carmel Soccer as a freshman, there were 66 freshmen trying out for 19 spots. And that's a little bit less than how much Brebeuf has in total for everybody. And whenever I was a freshman, we would go to the games because we would have to be ball boys for them. And you would just look up to them and you think they were like so much higher than you and so much better than you. And I feel like now that I'm there's like some kids at Brebeuf this year that I know because I never talked to any single senior at Carmel because I never had like a chance to and never had that interaction because it was just so big and I would never see them at school. But at Brebeuf, I'll see some kids. I'll say hi to like most of the freshmen and especially the camp in the summer that we did, which is basically the seniors or the most people, seniors and juniors from both girls and guys soccer teams help volunteer for this camp that does middle schoolers and elementary schoolers. And some of the incoming freshmen do the camp, and you get to know them super well from that. And also the summer practices. So I feel like I just have such a better connection with the freshmen. And I also see that, especially on the varsity team, some kids are getting put down. They're not even like freshmen. I can just tell that people get like made fun of. And I've like talked to some kids on the JV team, and some kids get bullied because they'll like didn't make the team or didn't make their top team or just are annoying to talk to supposedly. And I feel like as captains, we both have to like put a stop to that and try anything we can do to make everybody be a family and not be competition between each other.
Yeah. So team dynamic is obviously super important in success. And like you were saying earlier, it wasn't too good at the start. And kind of going through last year, you guys started out 0-7-2, and then went undefeated and won the state title. So I don't know if there is a definite answer, but there might be. So I'm going to ask, what clicked after those first 9 games?
Well, honestly, we played hard teams. We played all 3A teams those first 9 games, except for Ron Colley. And Ron Colley, we're not going to talk about that game. Just
It's a sore subject.
yeah, it was a bad game, and yeah, but never mind that. And after that, we played the teams that were in our division, and we would stay with most of the teams in 3A except for a couple. So we knew we were good enough. And once we played the teams in 2A, we knew that there was a legitimate chance. And I remember whenever we were 0-5-1, I think. My dad goes, "You can always transfer back to Carmel if you want to feel like a winner again." And Mom goes, "Okay, that's never gonna happen. I feel like something's gonna happen this year," and supposedly Mom's right. So yeah.
If you when your dad said that, did you give any thought to that? Because I know the Carmel program is so wildly different. Would you feel like a winner at Carmel, or would you feel like a big part or like a small part of a big program?
I would definitely feel like a winner, honestly, because the history that Carmel has
Yeah.
and beating everybody basically. But I mean, I had that in my head where I'm like, I should go back to Carmel, but I just couldn't. So yeah.
And so, Stefan, obviously you started in the program, so you were there 2 years before the state title. So, how did the last year's team and chemistry and season overall, how was it different than the first 2 seasons? It could be from seniors who graduated the previous seasons, or I don't know, just a whole different team chemistry. I know a lot of people graduated, a lot of people came in. So what was different about last season than the previous 2?
I think that one of the big things about the last season that was a lot different than previous seasons was the again, just like the chemistry between the seniors and the younger classmen. And I think that honestly just winning helps team chemistry, if that makes sense. Like at the beginning of last season when we were down 0-7-2 or however many games it was, I just remember feeling like every time the opposition scored that they'd score another. But towards the end of the season, we started to win games. I felt that change in that every time we stepped in the field, I felt like we were going to win. And I just remember this one dad. It was before our first win against Covenant Christian.
Yeah.
Covenant Christian. I just remember I was walking out from my car, and I remember this one dad. He just told me, he said, "Are you guys finally going to get a win today?" And then we won however many straight, 11 straight or something like that. So that was definitely a core moment for me.
Let's talk about the team a little bit. Some superlatives. So, funniest player on the team last year, who was it?
It's got to be Alex Kerberger. It's got to be. He just says the most randomest stuff that makes no sense, and somehow it's just always funny. Who else do you think it would be?
I feel like from last year's team, I would say it was probably Marcus Sherrod.
I love Marcus.
Marcus
Oh, it's gotta
Sherrod,
be
definitely.
Marcus.
I know you swam with him, right?
No, he was in choir with me.
Oh, yeah.
And it just brought a whole different energy to choir class. Like he fell asleep every class, so the teacher would throw stuff at his face, and he would just do the most random things in choir class that no one would think. And like for someone who acts like him, I mean, credit to him for going to the Army, but I'm a little bit confused as to how he's handling
I
that.
think we're all pretty skeptical of
Oh, yeah.
how that's going to turn out.
Yeah.
I saw one post on his story first week. Did not look good.
I'll have to check in with him at some point. But okay, so that was funniest. You guys have any other like superlative ideas? Like, I don't know.
Do the most
Likely
meanest.
to?
How about the most drip on the team?
Most drip,
Who
yes,
has the most
great.
drip? I would definitely say
Oh.
Miles Berry. Shout out Miles Berry.
Oh,
Although
yeah.
he thinks he has drip, but he doesn't have as much drip as he thinks. But he still has
Okay,
drip.
I gotta call him out really fast. We played Avon 2 days ago, and he came to warm-ups at Avon 45 minutes away in sweatpants and did not change till like a minute before we were gonna warm up.
Who has the best cleat game?
I mean, I got a good cleat game, I'll be honest. My cleats are pretty solid.
I agree with that. I think it's Rosie.
Yeah, I mean, I got good cleats. Who else would it be? Krostev had good cleats last year.
Yeah, Ryan Kersteff, he did have a lot of good cleats.
Yeah,
Colorful. I like colorful.
I like
cleats.
colorful too.
Yeah.
I think I might know the answer to this next one too. Biggest personality on the team last year.
Ryan Kerstev or
I thought
Marcus
that.
Sherrod.
Yep, those were mine
One of-
too.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
those two.
Yeah.
Definitely
And
the biggest.
they both graduated. So who is it this year?
Thomas Gonzalez.
Yep.
Yeah, Thomas.
Most definitely Thomas Gonzalez.
Yeah, it's probably Gonzo.
Okay, who has the most power on their shot? Who can kick the ball furthest? It's probably, I don't know. It could be the same, could be different, but both of those two.
Ooh. I think the most powerful, Alex Kerberger, but he cannot, like, I mean,
His accuracy.
What
his
about
accuracy,
finesse? Who has
yeah.
the most finesse on their shot?
I think that Mateo probably has a lot of a lot of finesse.
Mateo
on his shot.
loves to do it.
He loves a good shot. That's for sure.
Also, Julian loves to take any type of shot he wants. But
Yeah, Julian Bell.
Julian was in my Spanish class last year, and I was thinking about putting him in the biggest personality contest there because
yeah.
he made that class very interesting, but in a good way. So we've talked about the players. Let's talk about moments, memories from last year. What were some of the most funny, like memorable things that happened last year's season?
scavenger hunt. Whatever happened on the scavenger hunt. So we can't get into detail about the scavenger hunt.
It's one of those
about
situations.
What about
okay.
like exactly we do? But one thing somebody had to do was one thing. Huh? You said.
I would say one of the funniest things that we had to do was jump into a fountain. That was pretty funny. Another thing.
Oh yeah, so there's like different groups, and my group we had to go to Target and buy overalls. So we bought these overalls, and none of us had a shirt on, so we just plain overalls, nothing else.
Was this a player organized thing or was this a coach organized
Oh,
thing?
definitely player.
Yeah, okay.
Definitely player.
Who put it together?
All the seniors.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard about, I had a suggestion to talk about the bus ride.
Oh, we can talk about the bus ride.
I don't know what the bus ride entails, but I've been told to ask you about
You
it.
can go on about it.
It was on the way back from semi-state, and
Start from like the start. Whenever we were going there, how everybody was just silent. Going to Evansville.
oh yeah, so we had to make a trip to our semi-state game in Evansville,
That's
Indiana.
like 3 hours away, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
okay.
far.
So
And-
we chartered a bus with a bathroom and everything, and like nice seats and all that stuff. And everybody gets on. Everybody puts a headphone, and it's just quiet. People are like talking with each other, but nobody's
Like locked in.
yeah,
ready for the
everybody's
game?
not like
Okay.
obnoxious. Everybody's just chill. We get to the game. We you want to talk about the game, or you want me to keep going?
Got it.
Okay, so basically, we score first, and then they score, so it's 1-1. Then we go to PKs, and 5 PKs later, we end up winning. Aiden Wade gets the winning goal. I mean, winning save. He's a goalie, yeah. And basically, so we get back on the bus, and we're having like time of our life, making fun of each other, just laughing with each other, and nobody. If you go to the bathroom, you're definitely gonna get messed with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Thomas Gonzalez, the one person who I'll even say, I've even told him this too. I did not like him last year. I've told him this too. I like him this year. He's perfect this year. But last year, I did not like him at all. And everybody didn't like him. So he goes to the bathroom. And it was Logan Thornberry who goes, okay, whenever he gets out, nobody let him out. So it was Quinn Warren and somebody else who just hold the door shut and not letting him out. He's like pushing on it and like throwing his shoulder into it, not getting out. And then Quinn opens it a little bit, and Logan squirts water all over
my
him.
gosh.
And he just drenched in water all over, and has to sit like that for the next hour and a half in his chair and just silent.
It's probably better to do that, though, than sit on a silent 3-hour bus ride after losing.
yeah,
like,
honestly.
Bus rides, like long bus rides after a loss, are one of the most painful,
Yeah.
mentally depressing things out there.
Especially because it would have been 3 hours back too.
Yeah.
It would have been so
That'd been
bad,
rough.
but we didn't lose. So
We
it
were
doesn't
already
matter.
wet though from the game because it was raining during the game.
Every single semifinal, regional game, whatever, was always raining. No matter what, the championship game, semifinal, region, whatever it was, always pouring down rain.
At least you knew how to like deal with it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it were dry in semi-state, regional, and all the other rounds, and then it was perfectly fine, and then you go to state and it's pouring down rain, which it was. Like you probably played differently,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
but since you had the experience in like going up to the state game, you probably knew what to do. Because the
Yeah.
ball's, I have to assume it's going to be slicker.
Goes
Um,
further.
especially
when it
on
bounces.
turf.
And is IPY turf
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
played? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a scary field.
Wet
We'll
turf-
get into that later. But
Wet turf is not the best. So yeah, let's talk about the state game a bit. So, I don't know.
you want to start?
I wasn't there. I couldn't go, but
Wow.
I know what happened.
Fake fan.
Wow.
hey,
That's
I was supporting you guys all season, but I couldn't go. I wanted to, but I know Quinn Warren scored. Was it 2?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the final was 2-1, right?
The
3-1.
3-1.
3-1. And you had a goal, right, Stefan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So talk about like first your goal and like how it felt to be at the state game, the atmosphere, what it was like.
Yeah, I'll start on this one. So getting to a state game, first of all, is just like, it's incredible.
Oh yeah.
I remember just like how nervous I felt before the game. That's probably the most nervous I've ever felt. And I remember walking out onto the field, going to the center circle, and I just see myself up on the screen, which is like, it's
Yeah.
like a pretty big screen.
It's different
the
at a
coolest.
it's
It was
different at
so
a pro
cool.
like when you're at a professional sports game and you get on the jumbotron, it's different than when you're at like you're in the game.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, that was like a really like surreal feeling. But not long after, Quinn Warren scores a goal, which is just like, it was so quick and just happened so fast.
It was
and I remember
it was so quick. Wait, you can go.
it was so Quinn. Yeah. Nice.
No, you can. It was so quick. I'll go. Okay. It was so quick that it was the fastest goal. I have to shout out Quinn for this. It was the fastest goal in state championship history, and like ever for Indiana. Okay.
When
keep
was
on
it?
going.
What minute?
It was 90 seconds in.
Wow.
Yeah, 90.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember I saw it like right off the bat. You guys were up. I didn't know it was that early though.
I remember because I watched like the whole game a couple weeks ago. I remember Josh loses the ball in the wing, and then they go down. Then I don't remember who kicks it up to him. Then it's just like a weird bounce.
I flicked it on him.
Oh, you flicked it onto him? Well, Stefan got the assist, and then Quinn scores, and then everybody goes crazy. So it's fun. Yeah.
We like those.
Oh, yeah.
Stefan, your goal was a header, right?
It was like a pass from Quinn, and then it kind of like it was a miss hit. I'll admit it was a miss hit. I mishit it off my foot, but it went in. So
Okay. It might have been a different. I know you had a header goal in the playoffs. I feel like you did, but it's you, so you could definitely
You
count me out
probably
on
did.
I don't think I've ever scored a headed goal in my life. Actually, fun fact.
that. Okay.
That is actually true.
Actually?
Yeah.
I might be thinking of a completely different thing then. Were you the second goal or the third goal?
I was the third goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That had to feel so good though after
did.
getting up 2. It was late in the game.
There was
Right.
about like 3 or 4 minutes left,
Yeah.
and I remember like thinking whether I was gonna go celebrate or not, but I was just like so exhausted that I just decided to just pump my fist and just stay right there.
I know exactly what you mean. I was not going to run over to you.
Yeah, I was just too tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great moment.
Then it was West Lafayette, correct?
Yeah.
And I remember our like Instagram pages, like our student section Instagram page and theirs were going at it, like coming up to the game throughout the couple weeks. And like I wasn't at the game obviously, but I know a lot of people were. A lot of people showed up
Yeah, well,
from
we
our
had,
side.
we had just played them in football, I think like
Yeah,
a
we
week earlier.
like 2 days.
2 days
we
ago,
beat
yeah.
them in the first sectional matchup because I was calling that game.
Yeah.
And the energy there was great, but that was not a state game. So I kind of see a little bit of a rivalry popping up between West Lafayette and us, and I'm here
Never
for it.
know.
It's pretty good.
I'm also here for it.
I'm definitely here with
But
that.
what was the turnout like for West Lafayette? Because we're much, much closer than they are.
I mean, they had like they had a good crowd. I heard them, but usually what happens is whenever I'm playing like any game, no matter what, I just like focus on the
Yeah,
field and
tune
I
it all out.
don't really hear the crowd at all. It doesn't really bother me, and like trash talking doesn't really bother me. I don't really get into trash talking except if it's like a heated game. And I mean, yeah, it was just fun to see a bunch of people there. Yeah.
And so when you came back to school, like right after winning the state game, I could kind of tell there was a different like atmosphere in the school because that was, I don't remember what order we won 4 last year.
I don't remember either.
It was.
Did
oh,
it go?
sorry.
Did it go
went-
volleyball?
Volleyball won first.
I thought really.
I think so. I think theirs was the earliest.
I think so. I think that was Friday.
I know cross country. I know cross country was the day before us.
Okay, so yeah, I knew we were coming off 1.
Did
and
volleyball
so-
and cross country have the same day?
Actually, no. I think it went cross country was Saturday morning, and we were Saturday night, and then volleyball was like a week later.
I remember, there was a post on the
Oh,
IHSAA Twitter. It was like we were the first school to win 3 in 48 hours or something like that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was crazy. That
So
was
the
sick.
and then football was like already locked into the state game at that point. And so
But then they lost.
we're not going to talk about that. We are not going to go back to that game. But like you could tell that the students and the staff here were like there was such a positive impact from all the sports success and like the pep rally afterwards where you guys all ran in like around the gym to get like an ovation. It really like brought a positive energy to last year as a whole, and it carried throughout the whole year. And I thought that was really cool, and like the effect that sports can have, even in high school, not even professional, on a community. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. That was definitely.
Did your teacher ask you a lot about it?
Yeah, they do, which is like awesome, but
Mhm.
helps you get a few bonus extra credit points.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You want to make a proposition here? Any of your teachers?
Yeah, any teachers listening out here, I say if we win state again, then I get at least 10 extra credit points.
Yeah, especially Mr. Fanara, if I could call him out really fast. But
All right. So I just mentioned professional teams, and I am still looking for a team in the Premier League, and I would love to know who you support, what teams you support.
You want to take? I'll take it first. I'll take
You
it
got it,
first.
you got
I got it. So basically, my favorite player is Jack Grealish, and I liked him because he was at Aston Villa, and I like Aston Villa. That's my favorite team because my cousins live in England, and they live closest to Aston Villa Stadium.
Yeah.
So they are fans of them. So I'm just basically fans with them, and now Jack Grealish went to Manchester City, which is the biggest club in Premier League.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of them just because of Jack Grealish, which means I'm a bandwagon. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
Bandwagon, yep.
But I mean, I'll admit it. But I feel like I still am an Aston Villa fan. Ollie Watkins is gonna take them all the way this year. Just simple as that. But yeah,
Okay, Stefan.
join Aston Villa.
I
Be
think
Aston Villa fan.
I think I've heard Stefan's professional team, but let's make sure.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a plug for a Premier League team, Ian.
No. Don't
Yes.
listen to him.
Listen to me.
Don't.
If you want a young, up-and-coming team in the
Oh my
Premier
gosh.
League,
Sell it.
This sounds
Sell
like
it.
an
Try to
infomercial.
sell it.
Arsenal. This is
It's an
Arsenal.
infomercial.
This is Arsenal time right here.
Yeah, I was right. I knew this.
Yeah. They're definitely my favorite Premier League team. I love Smith Rowe, Odegaard. We have Jesus now. He's really good.
Yeah, JJ's good stuff.
My actual favorite team, though, is Bayern Munich.
Okay.
Bandwagon.
No.
Yes.
But in terms of Premier League, definitely Arsenal. I would say definitely become an Arsenal fan, Ian.
I'll think about it.
They're good this year. You just be a bandwagon. You got to do Aston. You got to do a team underground like Aston
Yeah,
Villa.
I don't want I know Arsenal's not. I know Man City's number one in the
Aston Villa is supposed to be really
in
good
the
this year.
standings. Yeah.
So you can't follow them. You
It
got to do
is-
Aston Villa because they're 10 to the 15 range in the table. So
Yeah, it's
not
early.
too bad-
There's
not too
still a
bad,
lot of
not too
movement
good.
to happen. I watched a couple days ago. It was on. I had nothing to do, so I turned on the Chelsea Tottenham match,
Ooh,
and
that's a
there
heated
were
game.
5 fights in
Yeah.
it, and I thought it was really cool because the crowds, Premier League crowds, are different.
Oh my god, I got a story.
They
about
make
that.
fun of us for in the MLS. I mean, most Americans probably think the MLS is decent crowd, because they probably those in America who watch the MLS who have not seen soccer overseas probably think MLS crowds are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But we get treated like babies for our crowds from
Oh, yeah.
from the Premier League fans. It's wild. It really is.
One of my best friends who he went to England to watch a Liverpool and I don't know who else, but basically he took one of his uncle who lives in England is a fan of this random team, and whenever he goes to a game, he has to stay in the stands till the opponent leaves, till the opposition leaves. They take a shower, they get changed, they leave. They're an hour away from the stadium, and then everybody can leave, because if they don't, then the crowd will try to try to kill the players.
Yeah, I was kind of inferring that in my head.
Yeah, and it's just I thought some of the stuff any American sport doesn't really compare to the viciousness of a crowd of some big rivalries.
Even in
England.
EuroLeague basketball, those crowds get pretty
Yeah.
rowdy too. Another thing, World Cup is coming up. What are some thoughts on the World Cup?
America's not going to do as bad as they usually do.
I think United States is going to do pretty well. I think we're ranked in the top 15 actually this year, which is good. My plug, of course, is still Germany. I think Germany's going to win it all.
Hate Germany.
He hates Germany, but he's just mad they're about to win.
Germany is going to be terrible. It's going to be Belgium. Simple as
Isn't
that. It's going to be Belgium.
I think I watched a Belgian national team game over the summer.
Yep.
I don't remember who's on it.
I did too.
Kevin De Bruyne,
Yep. Okay.
Lukaku.
Yeah. Isn't France France has Mbappe and what's his name?
Pogba?
Pogba.
Griezmann.
That's not the one I'm thinking of, but I can't remember his name. Whatever. They got a lot of good players. I know that. But yeah, the US is on the rise. They usually do not do well in the World Cup, but Pulisic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, the goalie retired like 2 World Cups ago.
Yeah, but
Tim
now
Howard,
we
right?
got the backup. We got the backup goalie for Man City.
Okay.
And I mean, most of the players that are going to be starting for America play in England on like top teams, so he shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, Pulisic is on Chelsea.
Yeah.
And that's got to be really interesting, like the amount of travel they have to do to go from like national team play to their club play.
Oh,
And
it
just
sounds awful.
I mean, traveling within Europe is not that much, but like going back and forth from the States overseas is really like, I went on the Oxford trip last spring and we flew. So here to Charlotte was 2 hours. And then from Charlotte to London was 8.5. But it felt like an eternity on that plane.
Yeah.
But they all get private, like
Yeah.
catered stuff. But
Yeah.
I was
Although,
next to Sean on my plane for
Sean from Campus Ministry?
Sean from Campus Ministry.
Oh my God, I love
for
Sean.
20 hours total.
Love
Ooh.
Sean.
It was a life-changing
That's a
experience. I
bonding
learned a lot.
experience.
I learned a lot from Sean. But yeah, they're all private. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving back onto the serious stuff. You guys are both captains. What is it like? How did that process work? How did you get selected? And then what does that entail?
You can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So last year, our 2 captains to start the season were Henry Kofer and Ryan Kirsteff. And then about I want to say 3 or 4 games in, they said I was another captain, which is really cool. I feel like I didn't take the responsibility. I should have done more as a captain last year, and I regret that. But this year, they said I was a captain at the beginning of the summer just because I was one last year. But yeah, I can't say I was surprised when it happened because I was one last year, but it's definitely I feel like I need to do more just because I'm a captain. And sometimes the responsibility, it can be a lot, but it's good that I have Jake as my partner in crime.
So Jake, how your process was it the same as Stefan or was it different?
Mine was totally different. Okay. Mine, throughout the whole summer, I thought in my head, because I was kind of like a leader through all the summer practices, I thought I would be captain, but I didn't know for sure. And I was going to talk to our coach, and he just told me, a couple of days after tryouts, he's like, "You're going to be our second captain. I like your leadership. I like how you lead everybody, and your communication, your confidence is really good." So it kind of caught me by surprise, but I also kind of knew at the same time because I just feel like I just kind of, I don't really know. I don't really know what else to say, but I feel like you can go on.
So I know our hockey team has player voting for captain and assistant captain. Was it solely coach? Coach appointed?
Only coach.
Okay.
And I feel like I think I've done a pretty good job as a captain. I've kind of been a kind of demanding, kind of mean captain, to be honest, where I kind of Stefan's kind of the one where it's he's the nicer one we can go up and talk to and have a normal conversation with him. And I'll be if you do something wrong in practice or you're messing around, I'll call you out for it and I'll make sure everybody knows that you're messing around and you better stop or else something's going to happen.
It's got to be a good balance though. Having you do have to have some accountability in a team structure and you also have to have a kind of laid back atmosphere at times. So that's good that you kind of naturally split it up like that, I think. I don't know how your teammates perceive it, but
there's been some incidents this year where we've had to talk about it, but I mean we just kind of talk about it together and see what we should do about it.
Yeah. So other than leading your team, holding everyone accountable, what does being a captain mean both to you and what is the job description and then your version of it?
I would say probably for me, what I focus on when I'm a captain is kind of what you just touched on before about keeping the squad atmosphere really high, and that focusing on more of the personal side of each player, making sure everyone's happy, making sure. Jake, I actually admire what Jake does. Jake is he keeps people accountable, like he said. I'm not as good at that, but Jake handles that. But yeah, I think being a captain is kind of both sides of what me and Jake do, and that keeping the squad atmosphere, but also still being on people and holding people accountable.
Yeah, I also feel Stefan has actually done a good job at being my other co-captain, because we'll be like in the middle of practice and we'll be doing stretching and I'll totally forget the count and I'll just keep on going. And I feel like because I haven't been there for I haven't been there for maybe like 1 or 2 practices, and he'll make sure everybody is on task. And I can see people whenever they're not in a good mood, and like the reasons why. Like I've helped people, like just kill off conflicts because there's been some conflicts where people don't like somebody or people talk bad stuff about this person, and you just have to kill it off because it'd be a terrible atmosphere, and you don't want people just going off at each other. Because like this year compared to this year, I feel like everybody gets along. People bicker and argue, but nobody genuinely hates people. 'Cause last year there was some people that dislike people, and there's no way around it. But this year nobody hates anybody, and this team is a lot closer than last year.
There's always going to be some little thing on a team that happens, but if you can control it, which you guys seem to be able to handle, that's really like a good thing to see. Mm-hmm. As are captains exclusively seniors?
No.
Or no, Stefan, you were talking about you were a captain last year.
Yeah, no, it's technically not like age capped or anything like that, but it usually is senior captains, but there's some junior captains sometimes too. Yeah.
So you guys are in your last year. What does your future look like? Your college goals, like your major, if you want to play soccer in college, like what do you want your future to look like?
I do not want to play soccer in college because I was talking with people that play Division I soccer, and they said you can get the soccer experience, which soccer comes first, then education, or get the actual college experience, where education comes first, and I want the education to come first. Mm-hmm. So I want to go to a college and major in probably finance and play on their club team, whatever college I go to.
Do you have a top choice in mind?
Probably IU is my top choice right now.
What about you, Stefan?
I don't think I'm going to play soccer in college either. Just kind of for the same reasons Jake said. I was talking to my mom the other day about how, like, if you play soccer at any level, basically, it becomes like your main focus and like everything surrounds it. But my top choices, I think it's like either IU or Purdue, basically. And I want to major in something like involved with like environmental science or economics.
I think it was Will Soul. He was telling me about UW and about how you wanted to go to Washington.
Ooh.
I don't know. Is that true?
So it's actually a funny story. I got shoes online. They were Ultra Boosts from University of Washington because everything else was sold out at like the actual Dick's. So I got them online. Mm-hmm. And then I started going around and telling people that I was committed to the University of Washington for soccer. And apparently a bunch of people like believed it.
Wow.
But do you still have an interest in UW or no?
No, I didn't actually have an interest in UW.
I remember when I was at Creekside for middle school, no, I think I was in elementary school, and then there was a girl at Creekside who committed to Washington for softball in like 7th grade.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I don't know how you would even look at recruiting a 7th grader or a 6th grader.
What is she doing now?
I don't know. I think her name is Stormy. It's like Stormy Williams or something like that. I don't know. We can get back to you on a different episode of P3. I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay.
But let's start wrapping it up here. So what do you have advice-wise for younger soccer players, or future soccer players coming to Brebeuf, or just in general?
Just if coaches are hard on you, don't take that to heart, because I've had some really mean coaches that just destroyed my aspirations to even play. But you just have to beat those out, and you'll be successful at the end, and just keep on going, because the more practice you do, the better you will be, and the better you'll make your overall team be.
I would say the main thing to focus on for the younger players is not getting too high or too low from any result or just anything soccer related. Like, for instance, this is kind of extreme, but if you do something super well, you have an amazing goal or something, not to come in school the next day and think you're like everything. It's to stay humble, stay grounded, because that's how you're gonna get better results.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thing? Any shout outs you want to give out?
Oh, I got to give a shout out to Ian. So I have a funny story about Ian.
Oh, I don't know where this is going.
So I used to play, first year I ever played baseball.
Oh, yeah, I know where this is. Okay.
I was on Ian Plaskoff's baseball team. And I remember this was maybe like I don't know what game it was, but I remember.
Was that the Oakland Athletics team?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the best team. I remember he brought this black bat in that weighed so much.
It was the Jeter bat. It was the wood Jeter bat.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I remember my dad saying, Ian, you gotta put this down. It's not gonna work. You're not gonna be able to hit it. Or he might have told me that and not you. And I remember you swinging it and your whole body just flying with the bat, and somehow you got a hit.
I think so. That was when it was coach pitch. I think that was the same year where I hit a line drive right onto the coach's collarbone and I broke it.
Oh.
Completely unintentional. I think it was Coach Corbett. Coach Corbett, if you're out there, I haven't talked to you in like 12 years, but I'm sorry. Yeah. Any other shout outs?
Good morning, Wade. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
I'll give a quick shout out to hopefully my brothers listen to this, Luke and Julian, and my entire family. And then a little shout out here to Michael Garver. He knows what's about to happen.
We love Garver.
We love Garver. He was talking to me about his Twitter. He was a little angry that you didn't follow him back.
Did I not follow Garver back on Twitter?
Wow, Ian.
Okay, hey.
That's messed up.
Garver, if you're listening to this, I will follow you back right now. Okay. All right. So that just about does it for episode 3. Episode 4 will be coming out, I believe, in the next couple weeks. It will be an unnamed player on the Brebeuf Jesuit football team. So stay tuned for that. Episode 3, P3, that just about does it. See you next time.